Hello everyone, my name is Prima Yoga Budi Prawira. I with my colleagues Nova Inas Fikri, Sevan Togar Pasaribu, Listi Farida, and Mr. Catur Apriono has been researching and studying about fiber optic technology in Department of Electrical Engineering at Universitas Indonesia. Today I will present to you our research paper about design and analysis of Bandung Jakarta High-Speed Rail Fiber Optic Backbone Network. This is the outline of today's presentation. We will discuss about background of this research, optical network design, result and feasibility analysis, and conclusion. Before we talk about the research, we should discuss about DKI Jakarta and Bandung, where the research and the project is. DKI Jakarta is a province that dedicated to become the capital of Indonesia. With a population of 10.6 million people, DKI Jakarta become the fifth most populated province in Indonesia. And then Bandung. Bandung is a city that is the capital of West Java province. With a population of 2.5 million people, Bandung become the fourth most populated city in Indonesia. Okay, let's talk about Jakarta-Bandung High-Speed Railway Project. The Jakarta-Bandung High-Speed Railway Project is the cooperation project between the government of Indonesia and China. PT KCIC, which is the company that run the project, has carried out this project with a track length of 142.3 kilometers, stretching from Jakarta to Bandung with 4 stations in between. Let's move on to 2020 Indonesia's internet user data. This data we can use to analyze the potential internet growth in Indonesia. Let's focus on West Java, where the Bandung located, and DKI Jakarta. In West Java, the internet users are 35.1 million people, whereas in DKI Jakarta, the internet users are 8.9 million people. As you can see, there are a lot of people that use the internet in these two regions. That means the potential of internet growth is very high. In other hand, this means in order to deliver a reliable and high-speed data internet, a reliable fiber optic is needed to connect these two regions. Okay, this is data from Infrapedia about the Indonesian's fiber optic backbone infrastructure that has been installed. As you can see, Jakarta and Bandung is only connected by subsea backbone cable. This is not ideal because if the subsea cable in problem, the connection will be cut, and that is not good. So that's why we need to build another backbone, terrestrial backbone, between Jakarta and Bandung. So we utilize the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway. Okay, what are the advantages of terrestrial fiber optic? The first one is easy maintenance, and then a relatively low maintenance cost and better environmental impact compared to subsea cable. Okay, so in this proposed design, we actually tweak a little bit from a regular terrestrial fiber optic installation. So in our proposed design, the fiber optic cable will be installed beside the railway track, and we utilize the railway track length, so we don't need to allocate land and allocate land acquisition cost, of course, and then and it will be cheaper. The other thing is in regular terrestrial installation, we usually need to build several ports for the device, like repeater, to run the system. In our proposed design, we utilize the railway station as the post, so we don't need to build another additional post. So this is our research flow. The first thing we do is we make the design, and then we select the device, and then we'll do 3 kind of analysis. That is analysis of power link budget, rest time budget, and bit error rate. If the system meet the requirement of these 3 analysis, then the project is finished. If not, we're going to reselect the device, or we're going to redesign the system. From the research and from our discussion, we split the length of the railway track into 3 sections. That is Halim to Karawang, Karawang to Walini, Walini to Tegaluar. With the estimated cable length with the spare cable of 5%, the total cable length is 149.1 kilometers. And then for the system specification, we can see we choose the data rate of 10 gigabit per second, where 10 to the power negative 9. The encoding signal is NRZ. The wavelength is 1550 nanometers. The margin system is 5 dB, connector attenuation 2 dB per connector, and joint attenuation is 0.2 dB per splice. And for the device selection, we use the transceiver is Cisco SFP10GZR. Why we choose this transceiver? Because this transceiver met the requirement for the data rate, that is 10 gigabit per second. So this data, transfer power, receiver sensitivity, transceiver rise time, spectral width, we took from the datasheet, Cisco datasheet. And then for the cable, we use ITU TG654.B because it has very low attenuation at 0.175 dB per kilometer and chromatic dispersion at 3 picosecond per nanometer kilometer. So this is the fiber optic design that we propose. We follow the railway track, and the blue square is the post where the station is. Okay, now let's talk about the power link budget analysis. So in this analysis, we analyze the maximum distance that the signal power is sufficient so that the system work properly. So the measured parameter is cable attenuation, connector attenuation, and splice attenuation. And the result is total power loss and distance estimation per section. This table, as you can see, is the result of power loss. And that from that power loss, we can calculate the power link budget feasibility. We want to the maximum length to be bigger than the section length. So that means that our system has the ability to propagate the signal further than the requirement length, the section length. So as you can see from the maximum length, all of the section are above the section length. So that means that the system power link budget wise is feasible to build. Okay, let's move on to rise time budget. This analysis will calculate about the rise time of the system. So the measured parameter is transceiver rise time, group velocity, dispersion rise time, receiver rise time, and data rate. And the result is system rise time, maximum system rise time. This is the calculation of total rise time in our system. And then this is the rise time budget feasibility analysis. We want that our system rise time is lower than the maximum rise time that the system with this NRZ encoding with data rate of 10 gigabit per second. We want our system to be lower than this. So as you can see, our system, each section have lower rise time than the max system. So it means that our system is feasible to build. The last analysis that we done is bit error rate. The measured parameter is thermal noise, the current noise, short noise, or quantum noise. System total signal power that has been calculated in the power link budget. And then the result is signal to noise ratio SNR and bit error rate. Let's focus on in SNR. We have SNR of 51.112 dB, which is relatively low. And in the bare is 6.71 times to 10 to the power of negative 18, which is very low because if you remember, our specification is actually 10 to the power of negative 9. So this is very low. This is good, and this means that our proposed design is feasible to build. In conclusion, by using these three analyses, the proposed design is feasible to build and satisfy the required parameter to function properly. I think that's it for our presentation. This is acknowledgement. We would like to thank the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology for their support in this research through the grant Penelitian Dasar Unggulan Perguruan Tinggi in this year 2022. Thank you. Have a great day.